Here's more evidence that guitars ruin lives. I just talked to this camera for about, it had to be 3-4 minutes, and then I realized it wasn't rolling. It was the best footage. So instead, let's do it again. Sam, do guitars ruin lives? Have you been missing out on all kinds of great stuff like that golden bone I've been promising you forever because I've been playing guitar? Yes. Yes, he has. This is one bow, Ram Lama Ding Dong, Sam Lam, Ram Tam, Buster Daniel Baker Bear Jr. III, Junior Esquire, and he is here to tell you about output versus resistance. This here, I'm not going to tell you anything about, but I'm going to play it for you just a second, and then I'll tell you about it. All right, here we go. Now, until I started moving up here and playing sweet, you could have been forgiven for thinking that was a Telecaster bridge pickup. Pretty quick die-off. These strings are kind of old. Why the quick die-off? Why does that matter? Because this is a Super 2. This is a really hot pickup. A hot pickup shouldn't do that. Why does it? What is the mystery of the magnets? Magnets, how do they work? I don't know the answer to any of that, but I will tell you this. The Super 2 has a very high output, 400 millivolts, roughly. I might be misremembering that, but it's about 400 millivolts because it was designed to be a piano to go with the Super Distortion that piano. Okay? It's supposed to be a loud but clear pickup. How are they going to get a pickup that's hot enough to make sense in 1980 or whatever it was with a Super Distortion in the bridge blowing up a Marshall? Okay? How is it going to be hot enough to keep up with that but not just give you all woof all the time? Super 2 is pretty woofy in the neck. I'll say that. But how is it going to have any kind of clarity at all? Here's how. Low resistance. Now, how do they get low resistance and high output? I don't know. I ain't a scientist. I'm not Steve Blucher at DiMarzio. I'm not Larry DiMarzio, but I play these things and I know a little bit about them. I'm going to tell them. It's time to demystify. And then when we're done, we'll try and apply some mist back where it was so you can keep your enjoyment of the magic. I'm a kook. You should be one too. None of this is going to be edited. Why are you still watching? You guys are wild. Okay. So, generally, a high output pickup has high resistance. That happens because you have a thin wire, usually, a copper wire that is wound many times, thousands of times around the magnets. Thinner wire, more wraps, more windings of the coil, gives you a higher resistance. Generally, going to be a louder pickup, and almost always, I think always, is going to be a more compressed pickup. So that your dynamic range, quietness to loudness, is for any given style of playing is going to be compressed. Your softest playing is going to sound a little louder. Your hardest playing is not going to yield as much of an increase in volume. That's what I mean by compression. Okay, so higher resistance gives you that compression. Also, when it comes to pickup, tends to give you more mid-range and more the upper mid. Some people like that, some people hate it. DiMarzio has been long time associated with sounds of that nature, and that's not an unfair association. What is unfair is calling that a not good or a cheesy or sound or whatever. It has lent itself to a lot of great vocal-like lead guitar playing sounds that a lot of people don't like because they don't like it, because it's associated with a time period of music that they don't like, etc., etc. So the important thing to know is that just because a pickup can do that doesn't mean it has to, and just because a brand or style of pickups is associated with that doesn't mean they all sound like that or all have to be used that way, okay? So, I don't work for DiMarzio, but I like their pickups a lot, and I like learning about their pickups. So here we have the Super 2, which has a very high output of 400 millivolts because it was supposed to be in the neck originally, but it has low resistance because it needed to have some clarity. Let's go somewhere else to do that soon. So, this is like parenting, dog parenting videos. I'll blend it in. So it's going to go here, usually, and that lower resistance is going to allow you to have a tiny bit of definition, tiny bit compared to lower output pickup, but plenty compared to a pickup of that output as it would normally sound in that position. All right, geeky enough for you? So how does this pickup that's so hot, 400 millivolts, make sense with the Humbucker From Hell? That's what this is here in the neck. At only like 220, 230 resistance, something like that. Let's be generous, let's call it 270. It's not though, that's like air horn territory. The resistance is very low. This pickup has a resistance of like 8 point something despite having a 400 millivolt output, okay? So I wanted a pickup with a really bright, fast attack. Mission accomplished. I wanted to have some air, not be super compressed and mid-centered. This guitar does have a long sustain, but that's mostly the guitar. This guitar sustains that long with the vintage outputs, pickups it came with. And as you hear, even though the note sustains, it evolves. That is another characteristic of high resistance pickups that I don't often enjoy, is that they'll sustain a long time because of that compression, but it's kind of like having a compressor on. It's making it more like a violin sound or something where you can keep it the same all the time. For certain things, that's great. I don't want that. I want a tone that tells a story that's continuously changing. So my overtones are changing, the whole shape of the sound is changing as the overall volume decays. Yeah, anytime I see myself do this, the dog thing, lastly, if you don't believe me, that this works here with this, because the resistance, I can't tell you that's actually why it is. You'd have to learn that for yourself. But if you want to hear it in terms of volume, I was wrong. Here it is. Now that does show some compression. Everything lifts to the higher mids. But they can also both be just as sensitive. I got to get my one lick jab in. I was about to do this. And I stopped myself. Why? Because watch my video on do this, not that. Don't do that. Do something else. Because everybody does this. Or even better, don't do that. Unless you got a good reason to. In conclusion, I think Chet Atkins could very happily use a Super 2 in the bridge, not in the neck. I would not do that. I've tried it there, and I don't love it there because I don't play the style of music that it was made to be used in that position for. I don't exclusively do that. I play much more of what I just did, pretty country, bluesy, soul stuff, you know, and sometimes I play fingerstyle stuff like Chet Atkins. So, beautiful pickup, sounds tremendous in the bridge position. Don't let it's real bright things scare you off, because you just adjust your amplifier, and more importantly, get a neck pickup that's also bright, okay? So that everything adjusts together, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are at least as crazy as I am if you're watching this thing, but I really appreciate it. Appreciate your support. Please, if you're watching here on YouTube, give me a subscribe. If you're on Facebook, give me the follow, give me the like, give me all that stuff. You know what to do, okay? There's going to be more developments in Guitars Ruin Lives here in the coming month and in the new year. I ask you to stay tuned for that. It's going to become a little bit more of a thing, like I have always envisioned it being, but sometimes it just takes time. So I really appreciate your watching and your support. And you know what, let me know how the guitar is ruining your life. Let me know what sorts of cool things it's doing for you, what kinds of practical things it's getting in the way of. And you know what, maybe there's more important things than being practical, okay? Love y'all. See ya.